Chargers running back, tied the NFL lead in scrimmage touchdowns, 20. By the way, I have been to Colorado. It's a beautiful state. And you ended up in western Colorado, so I don't want to sound like an idiot. I don't know much about western Colorado football, but I want you to tell me, first of all, what's the nickname of western Colorado? I don't know.
Yeah, we're the Mountaineers.
Okay. All right, you're by mountains.
The Mountaineers.
Okay.
Yes.
What kind of offense did you run in college?
We had a spread offense.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, so we were, yeah.
Yeah. Right. You're a good pass
there.
catcher.
Yeah, I just want to, before we get going, I want to appreciate you bringing me on the show. I've been trying to get on the show, get it scheduled anyway. Just didn't end up working out, but finally got it. So I appreciate you having me on.
Well, you're a good-looking guy. You should be on TV a lot. Look at that. That guy is good.
Hey, I appreciate that.
You bet, my man. So let me ask you. I want you to give me the moment, Austin, when you thought to yourself, I'm going to make the league. Forget the Pac-12 and the Big 12, they overlooked me. When was the moment you thought, you call mom and dad, you call maybe a sister, I'm going to make the National Football League?
Man, I think probably after my last preseason game, because my journey, it was wild as far as like my perspective, because when I was in there, I was 6th string running back, and I never moved up the depth chart. I never really got more reps because I did well or anything like that. I would always get sprinkled in a few reps in practice. I had a few standout plays. I remember I caught a touchdown in a joint practice from Phillip against the Saints. But just little blurbs here and there that were like, okay, this kid maybe can play. But that wasn't even really what got me into the league. It was my special teams play. And after my 4th preseason game, I had a solid game on offense, but special teams is where I really showed that I could play in this league. And, after that game, I was like, I don't know if I did enough to make the team, but I know that's everything I had. There's nothing else you could have got out of Austin Ekeler. So, if that's good enough, great. If not, then I'm going to have to move on to something else.
So do you remember the moment they told you made the team?
Yeah. So it wasn't even a moment. It was like the lack of a moment, because it came down to the day of cuts, and it's like, okay, all the cuts have to be in by like 2:00 or whatever the cutoff time was. And it was like 1:30 and I hadn't gotten a call yet. And I'm like, oh snap. Then I get a call from our player director our player director. And he's like, hey man, I'm going to have to help you get some living scenarios going, because you're probably making the team. I was like, yeah, let's go. So that was the moment, call my mom, all that. Oh,
good for you. You have, it's really interesting. You guys played the Bengals this year, and I watched every second of it. It was one of those games. It was a weird game. So Herbert and Burrow both are big, deep ball throwers. They love to throw it up. And there was a lot of jump balls in that game, and you guys caught them all or intercepted them. It was a weird game where it was just a Chargers day. What about the Bengals defense? If I hadn't seen them play, what's the strength of their defense? Because you guys beat them up. Most teams didn't. What is it about their defense?
Yeah, I mean, they were pretty stout in the run game when we played them. And I think that's something that they've been able to do all year as just watching games. But like you said, our big plays definitely put us in positions. And we turned the ball over just like they did that game. I remember I had 2 fumbles that game. So they definitely got some opportunities. But like you said, we were catching our deep balls. And I remember we were struggling to get the run game going, which, I mean, we have Herbert, so it's not the end of the world if that happens.
Right.
So we were able to, pick up a different one of our strengths, but that's what it's going to be. They're going to have to stop the big plays from the Rams too. That you're going to see. You were just talking about the Rams players. They got Cooper Kupp, who's having a special year, my league MVP, if you ask me. But it's going to come down to eliminating the big plays for the Bengals.
First time you saw Justin Herbert, so I'm sure you had you Western Colorado, you had the spread, your quarterback could throw it around. But when was the first time you're watching, you start your career with Phillip Rivers, you go to Justin Herbert, and nobody know, I know him because I'm from the Pacific Northwest, so I watched a lot of his college games, and Joy and I kept saying, this guy's going to be great. Did everybody watch the Rose Bowl? But when was the first time you knew at practice, Austin, you're like, yeah, this guy's different?
Yeah, in practice he always was making, great throws and making them on the run and things like that. But it was the mental part where, okay, he's going to be able to call the plays. Obviously, playing a quarterback at this level, there's a huge mental gap that you have to catch up to as far as understanding the disguises and all the other things that come with that. So the talent and the skill was there. And you could see him just how he moved and how he's so big and how fast he can actually move for his size, and just continue to look down the field for his, his stature. So he has all the pieces, and I was like, okay, how is he going to mentally translate? And come to find out, he's, has a 4.0 average at Oregon. Very dedicated player as I've gotten to know him, as just all he wants to do is play football and hang out with the boys. Like, you see him like ducking the media and all that stuff. And so once that dedication started poking through, it was like, okay, yeah, this guy's, destined for greatness if he has this head on his shoulders. And so I feel like he's only up for him. Like, he's just going to continue to get better, even from last year to this year. His leadership and his understanding of how offenses work and how his role is actually really crucial to our confidence and us seeing him perform and bring the confidence to the plays and knowing what to do, put us in the right spot, actually has a big effect on us. Like, that growth is going to continue to come. And I just ran past him over here sitting on media, so he's getting into it. He's becoming a pro. People forget this is a young player, and they got to catch up with what the NFL is. It's a lot more than college. So really looking forward to being his backfield buddy for the next couple of days.
So Jonathan Taylor, Jonathan Taylor was on the first hour, a great running back. Quarterbacks often, like, they find a quarterback they grow up with, and they're a Joe Montana fan or a Brady fan, and they kind of play like him a little bit. Was there a back that you watched in your running style and size, and you thought, yeah, I'm a little bit of him?
So I actually did not watch the NFL growing up. I grew up on a tiny little ranch town, and like, I was in the cowboy life for like the early parts of my life. And so mainstream sports were really in my life. So I didn't watch the NFL until like my junior year of college.
Wow. So you were you like a roping calf and stuff? Like, you were a rancher?
Yeah, I grew up on a ranch. We had 80 acres, had cattle, we had horses. I rode bulls for a couple years. I was straight up cowboy life, and transitioned out of that as I got a little older. Yeah.
Have you seen the show Yellowstone, by the way?
I haven't. I haven't been watching many shows, but yeah, people keep telling me to.
Okay, go watch Yellowstone. It'll just be perfect for you and your ranch life. All right, Sleep Number, the official sleep and wellness partner of the NFL. More NFL players sleep on Sleep Number 360 than any other bed. Most comprehensive league-wide sleep initiative in pro sports. And what a pleasure to bring on Austin Ekeler. Are you guys allowed to play fantasy football if you play in the NFL?
Yeah, we can play fantasy football. There's just like a prize limit. Like, if there's cash involved, which there's no cash involved in any of my leagues, for my gain anyway, it's got like a limit to that. But yeah, I'm definitely in fantasy football. Obviously, I have my own show with Yahoo. And then, I was in 3 leagues this year.
Oh, how'd you do, by the way?
Terrible. I was terrible. In my leagues, I'm really there for the engagement, not necessarily because I love fantasy football, but I just wanted to kind of bridge the gap and, dabble in fantasy a little bit.
Hey, man, great meeting you. Love to have you on again. I love your personality. And undrafted Western Colorado, tied for the NFL lead. Scrimmage touchdowns of 20. He finds the end zone. Nice talking to you, Austin. What a pleasure for us. Thank you.
You as well. Thank you. I appreciate you having me on.
You bet. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd, or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.